The Boston Celtics have some huge moves to make. They're currently slated to pay $238 million in the luxury tax, and their best player is not even going to play next year. They have to retool this roster, probably moving on from guys like Sam Hauser, Jrue Holiday, and maybe even Kristaps Porzingis, even though he is on an expiring contract. And the biggest question, will they break up the Killer Jays and trade Jaylen Brown elsewhere? The primary goal for the Celtics this summer will be to get younger and much less expensive. And this is a great chance for them to experiment and retool here, because without Jayson Tatum, they have managed to retain their first round picks for the next 2 years. So therefore, they can afford to have a bad year next year without Tatum and, mix and match some pieces while their all-NBA wing is out. Big time year this year. You see the stats. I'd say he's fringe top 5. If he's not top 5, he's definitely top 7 in the league right now. Had that big time game against the Knicks, which we're about to talk about in a second. 45% shooting from the field, 34% from 3 on 10 attempts from 3. So not the most efficient season in the world from Jayson this year. And that's something come 2027, or if he has a quick recovery time, will be fixed by halfway through next year. Of course, versus the Knicks, the game he got hurt, he was going off for 42, 8, 4, 4, and 2, which is a ridiculous stat line, but it's gonna kind of stink to just sit there and eat this 5-year, $314 million contract while Tatum doesn't play for a single year. It's obviously going to put them at a huge disadvantage when it comes to building a roster, but they need to have one ready for when he comes back from injury. The outlook here, they're $107 million over the salary cap, $32 million over the first apron, and $20 million over the second apron. They do have a couple of late first-round picks, an early second-round pick, so that'll help them out for sure, but they got to make some trades. They are $40 million over the luxury tax, and their estimated tax bill right now is $238 million. The only 3 untouchables on this team are Tatum, Brown, and then I'd say probably Derrick White. Sam Hauser, 4 years, $45 million. Probably the first contract they're going to look to move, other than maybe Jrue Holiday, who's on a 3-year, $94 million deal. They'll definitely be looking to move that one, and then the jury is still out on Tingus Pingus if he is in the green and white next year. We got to talk about that. But first, let's talk about Jaylen Brown, because people are talking about moving on from him, and I don't really see this whatsoever. You don't split up Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. This is the best wing duo in the league. Argue with your mom about it. 5 years, $315 million, so he has a huge contract, which is why people are, speculating that he might be gone, but I don't see a world where the Celtics do trade him. 22.8 points a game, 5.6 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 1.2 steals in 34 minutes, and the dude was playing hurt in the playoffs. It was very noticeable. 46% shooting from the field, still can't shoot the 3 ball at only 32% on 6.4 attempts per game, and versus New York, he didn't have a very good series. Another reason why people are saying trade him. Only averaged 21.3 points, 6.7 rebounds, 5.2 assists, and 0.8 steals in like 40 minutes per game, and the shooting splits are even worse than that. Only shot 40% from the field and 29% from 3 on 6 attempts, but like I said, his knee was messed up. It's been very well documented that he was playing injured, and you could tell because he didn't have that explosiveness that makes Jaylen Brown. Remember, this is the 2024 Finals MVP we're talking about. This is definitely not the last time we will see Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown suit up together. I will find it very hard to stomach if the Celtics move on from Jaylen Brown, and I'm not even a Celtics fan, I'm a Hornets fan. Now, Jrue Holiday, 3 years, $94 million, he's as good as gone, if I had to guess, because they're not paying that luxury tax bill. He averaged 9.4 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 3.5 assists in the playoffs. For a guy that's making $30 million, you can't justify that. He looks a step slower. 49% shooting from the field, 31% from 3 in the playoffs, and he looks a step slower than last year, where he helped lead the Celtics to the championship. His efficiency is down, his defense is down. Remember, he was locking up 1 through 5 last year, and he was also playing more of a point guard role. They moved Jayson Tatum into more of a point guard role this season, operating more off of pick and rolls, and moved Jrue off the ball, and I don't think it really helped. It probably made things worse for Jrue Holiday. And then finally, the biggest question of the offseason, and to me the most intriguing, because it feels like Holiday and Hauser are probably gone, Jaylen Brown probably stays, but Kristaps Porzingis is on an expiring deal. So the Celtics can have him play this out and then look to re-up a deal with him next summer. They could try and extend him now, or they can go ahead and cut him loose, and it wouldn't cost them as much to cut him loose in a salary dump as, a Jrue Holiday who's on the hook for 3 years. Averaged 20.7 boards, 2 assists, and 1.5 blocks per game this year, and I'm excited to see what happens. Honestly, I think Porzingis, who shot at 48% from the field and 41% from three this year, if they bring him back, they're going to win still a lot of games because Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, Derrick White win you a lot of games. But if they trade both Jrue and Porzingis, they get $63 million off the books, unless, they trade for a lot of contract money in return, and that would put them $30 million under the first apron, which gives them a lot of flexibility. Sam Hauser obviously playing on that 4-year, $45 million deal. What made him so valuable last year on that run was that he was playing for $2 million. Now he's playing for about 12. So big difference there, and then he goes out in the playoffs, plays 8 games, about 14 minutes a game, and is putting up 3.5 points a game. You can spend money elsewhere, throw in Baylor Shiren. He's got a $45 million contract and only scored 28 points in the playoffs. And in theory, if you just traded Jrue and Hauser, then you get under the second apron by $23 million. You get under the luxury tax by a few million, and you can run back a little bit of the same roster and hope you hit on these draft picks. Now, the guy that I think is safe is definitely Derrick White. He's in the midst of a 4-year, $118 million deal. I believe he will be going into the second year of that come next season with a player option attached to the end of it. He's coming off a year where he averaged 16.4 points, 4.8 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 1.1 steals and a block. Quite clearly to me was their third best player because availability is a very good ability to have. Porzingis doesn't have it. He shot 44% from the field, 38% from three last year, did Derrick White, and it was a little bit of a down year, to be honest. Putting up those kind of numbers and it was a down year should tell you how good Derrick White was in their run to the championship, and I think he will be back next year. He's going to be asked to take on a much bigger role as well. Another guy that's going to be asked to take on a much bigger role is Baylor Shiren. And he's a guy they have to develop next season. He is a big part of this Celtics team because they can move on from Sam Hauser if Baylor Shireman's ready to step up and play that role. 3.6 points a game, 2.1 rebounds, 1.5 assists. He's also on his rookie deal for 3 more seasons. So, boom, you're saving a lot of money by playing Baylor over Sam Hauser. If he improves his splits, 35-31 on 2.6 attempts is not going to get it done, but he did show flashes. Over his last 16 games, the Celtics were 14-2, and he averaged 6.3 points, 2.8 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and a steal per game, and he did that while shooting 41% from the field and 38% from three. Now, he is pretty old, so he may already be at his ceiling as a prospect, but we'll see if they can continue to develop him into a rotational guy. Now, looking at the draft this year, obviously they're not going to be able to go out and get Cooper Flagg, but they have the 28th pick and the 32nd pick. So essentially 2 extremely late first round picks. And you could definitely make something work with that. You got Baylor last year at 27? Or no, they got him last year at 30. So you can definitely go out and make something happen with that pick. I'm not fully there with my prospect scouting yet. I mean, I have a general idea, but I don't want to throw any of that out and it'd be completely wrong in the video yet. So next time there's a Celtics video out, we'll have a prospect breakdown for who they should be selecting. Y'all let me know some thoughts down in the comment section below. Also, let me know your thoughts on what the Celtics should do. If you're a Celtics fan, what do you want to see happen? Because there have to be some changes around here, but without Tatum next year, you're not going to be contending for a championship more than likely, unless Porzingis or Jaylen Brown or Derrick White goes off. So let me know your thoughts on what you want to see happen for the Celtics next year. With that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button. Leave me a comment down below and hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy at any point. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video.